as long as you believe in the work and do the work.
But first of all, I don't want to be your poster child.
Solidarity is critical to getting this done. Allies are important.
Show me that I provide value to the business.
Is just one more way that some have tried to diminish, dismiss, and disavow the reality of systemic racism.
Be with us in crisis as well as celebration, but be consistent about it. Janet, let's talk about the Great Resignation that's going on. And we said this a couple of years ago, that if you weren't going to take care of your employees and have their backs through COVID and after the murder of George Floyd, you were going to see a lot of people leave and have a hard time attracting talent. And here we are, we called it. So one of the things that you talked about recently on a panel talking about the Great Resignation was your perspective on belonging and how that puts the responsibility on the person who is excluded. So can you touch on that a little bit more and share with this wider audience who was not a part of that panel? Because we see the word belonging a lot in DEI campaigns.
Yeah, and I mean, not a fan, sorry, surprise, not a fan. I have issues with the word, and I know it is one of the newest DEI buzzwords, but the way I think about belonging is I think there are two ways of thinking about what belonging is. There's belonging as sense, that's sort of being accepted and approved by a group, and that puts the onus on the excluded, because if you don't feel a sense of belonging, then shame on you, that's your problem. Then there's the idea of belonging as space, where organizations talk about creating a place where people can feel welcome, safe, and free to be authentic. It's the sort of, if you build it, they will belong, sort of, we're looking at it. But it assumes a universal blueprint for an environment of belonging. We know, first of all, that doesn't make sense because everybody's different. And on the panel, I was speaking with a professor from the Stanford B School, Dr. Brian Lowry, and he twisted the question. He says, the question to ask is, to whom does the space belong? So if you think about it that way, then the answer is belonging is both of those things. It is both sense and space. But the issue is it's aspirational. You cannot create belonging. What is actionable is the ability to have inclusive policies and to be inclusive. So if you can create a space of belonging, if it's built with intentional inclusion by those who own it, and from that space, you can create a sense of belonging by all who inhabit it. So if you want to use a term, it's okay, but just don't make it all fuzzy and kumbaya. Think about, there are two things you need to do. Define what inclusion looks like for your organization, and then develop and communicate what your organization is going to do to create it, because that's how you create a sense and a space of belonging.